I'm going to post some more in-depth stuff on this later on, but I mean, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio is already saying that he's going to take visas away from people who say mean things about Charlie Kirk. Total violation of the First Amendment. Uh, later, earlier today, we saw the United States Attorney General Pam Bondi say that she's going to criminalize free speech. She's going to criminalize speech on the left. Stephen Miller, who's going to be running this whole vengeance of the left on the left thing, has been totally fucking unhinged. He went on a rant on Sean Hannity's program last Friday that was, they're basically going to declare everyone who disagrees with Donald Trump politically or does not support Donald Trump politically, they're going to designate all of us as domestic terrorists. He was on the J.D. Vance Variety Hour earlier today while J.D. Vance took over Charlie Kirk's podcast episode. J.D. Vance said that without question, statistically speaking, all of the political violence in this country comes from the left. If you look back over the last 40 years, political violence in the United States, if you take out violence from Islamic terrorists in the United States, like 9/11, if you look at political violence and political killings in the United States, just left versus right, it's 14% for the left, 86% for the right. But, they are classifying every single school shooter, mass shooter as a trans leftist, when in fact 98% of mass shooters are straight white men. And Stephen Miller went on another fucking rant today saying that he is going to use the full power of the executive branch to come after everyone on the left in this country. So, I don't know, 80 million people? Laura Loomer is calling for every single college in the United States to be defunded because they turn conservative kids raised by MAGA parents into left-wing domestic terrorists, even in the first semester, apparently. And it's like I joke about this stuff a little bit just to maintain my own sanity. And Donald Trump has said that he's going to use the full power of the executive branch to go after the left and is going to designate all of us as domestic terrorists. I am gravely concerned about this administration and the right is going to use the assassination of Charlie Kirk as their springboard. They're going to use it as their justification. Stephen Miller said that he is going to do all of this stuff in Charlie Kirk's name. Even though Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a cisgendered heterosexual white man raised by MAGA parents in a virtually all-white state, in an all-white community. And Tim Miller said something earlier today on the Bulwark Daily podcast that I agree with, and I've been speaking out about, but it hasn't really gotten a lot of traction. This kid was raised with guns in gun culture since he was like 5 years old. There are pictures of him as a little kid holding guns. And he, I would argue, was raised quite effectively in gun culture because he made that shot, one single shot from a bolt action 30-06 at 150, 200 yards in a crowd of 3,000 people. That's not an easy shot to make, even if you're under ideal, silent, not silent, but you know, you don't have a crowd of 3,000 people when you're at a gun range. I mean, this kid got access to that roof with his gun, got up there, got off one single shot, fatal kill shot, under that kind of pressure, and then got away. That's gun culture in the United States. That kid was well trained and well practiced. He was raised with guns since he was a little kid. And Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Pam Bondi and maybe even Kash Patel, if he still has a job next week, they are going to use the assassination of Charlie Kirk to do any number of unimaginably horrible things to us on the left. I mean, I can't remember his name. His name was Horst something, Horst Waffle. He was a member of Hitler's SS, I think in 1930 in Germany. And he was murdered by some Dutch communists, shot to death in his room. And the Nazi Party made him the center of their early propaganda campaigns. And that is what Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, Kristi Noem, that's what they are going to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They are going to propagandize his assassination. They are going to make him a symbol, a martyr. They're going to try. And that is going to be their springboard for unimaginably awful, authoritarian, crackdown kind of shit. And look, I mean, it's like just last week, the United States Supreme Court said that the Fourth Amendment and the 14th Amendment don't apply to people in the United States, of which there are about 60 million of Hispanic or Latino ethnicity, roughly 50 million of whom are United States citizens, U.S. citizens. And the Fourth and 14th Amendments no longer apply to them because this United States Supreme Court said that racial profiling is now constitutional. It's not a giant leap for this Supreme Court to make the same exception for the rest of us. And they'll probably do it based on political belief. Well, I mean, if you disagree with Donald Trump, maybe you don't have a Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable search and seizure. Maybe you don't have full constitutional rights against that kind of profiling under the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause. This administration is going to do some awful fucking shit in the coming months. And it's going to be spearheaded by that little fucking ghoul, Stephen Miller, who I'm convinced doesn't have a penis. I'm just saying.